conference in Midtown Atlanta, where a woman who captured her own sexual assault on Facebook Live at a club is set to announce with her attorney that they have filed a lawsuit against Opera Atlanta. Now, she has filed this lawsuit against Opera Atlanta and other parties alleging negligence, failing to have the appropriate amount of security, working that particular night, and also failing to monitor certain areas of the club. That is just among other claims involved in this. As you can see, we have a double box up here, and this has already started, so let's listen in right now.
Well, we tried to reach out to Opera Nightclub without a lawsuit. We wanted to handle this civilly, peacefully, see if there was any way we could just talk. An idea I had was doing a Me Too event at Opera Nightclub and avoiding a lawsuit, seeing how this can get resolved. But what we were met with is silence. We were ignored. None of my phone calls were returned. None of my emails were returned. None of our letters were even returned. They did not have the decency to even apologize or reach out to Miss Eiland. So if that's the case, then we're going to file a lawsuit, especially when we had so many people that worked at Opera or were there that night reaching out to us, telling us what really happened that night. And what happened is shocking. A very experienced ownership group based out of Vegas has taken over Opera. And from what we hear and what we have reason to believe from our investigation, they had 1/4 the amount of security personnel working on the night of this incident. And this just wasn't just a club night. This was a large concert by an international megastar. And they only had 1/4 of the security guards working. Now, is there a problem with it being a hip-hop event? Did they not care? We'll find that out. But we know for a fact all of the security guards were not working, were not paid to work, and they knew this ahead of time because the tickets were pre-sold. Which is why they didn't have the security guards who monitored the crowds to see who's intoxicated or who's out of control and remove you. Which is why they didn't have these security guards to stop this assailant from taking Miss Eiland to an area that was closed and assaulting her again. People are only looking at the first part of the videotape. Miss Eiland was attacked twice. We have video proving that. So it wasn't just negligence, which is the basis of most lawsuits. This was reckless indifference. This was callousness. This was pure carelessness for patrons in the city of Atlanta on Hip Hop Night. How would you keep your club open or decide to go ahead with the concert knowing you're understaffed? Knowing the dangers that it could put the patrons in. But Opera did it anyway, and then didn't even want to talk afterwards. Updates on the case so far. Mr. Williams was arrested. He is currently in jail. He was arrested for aggravated sodomy. As many of you have seen, because of the bravery of Miss Eiland coming forward, another alleged victim has come forward and said that she was assaulted in the past by this same individual, has text messages to prove it, where she's arguing about being raped and being drugged. It's the bravery of Miss Eiland that is allowing other people to come forward. What really has hurt and has been an uphill battle in this case, but we've bravely taken it on, Miss Eiland has bravely taken on, is what internet trolling and what victim shaming can do to somebody. It drove Miss Eiland almost to the point of taking her life. When you look online and all you see is people shaming you and blaming you and saying you wanted it and things like that. But we didn't allow that to happen. And Miss Eiland said she was going to come forward and stand up and thank the women that have stood up for her and the men that have stood up for her and the celebrities that are now coming out and standing up for her. Because this has to stop. Believing a woman, waiting for the evidence, that's fine. But trying to attack someone and shut them up, that's not going to happen. Miss Eiland does have a few words before we continue.
Before I start, I do want to say that I don't want to address any of the details of the night in question. I do want to thank all of my supporters and all the other women that has come forward that alleges any sexual assault involving this same gentleman. And as far as the victim shaming and the bullying, I just want to let you guys know that I won't tolerate it. I'm not going to put up with it. And that I'm going to continue to fight. I'm a victim, but I'm a survivor as well. So, and just want to thank everybody, and that's it.
To clear up a few facts in the situation, because that is what the typical basis is, where people run off with things that they have no idea what's going on. They're totally wrong in their assessment of the facts. Let me show you actually a few things. Everyone has questioned how was it that Miss Eiland was able to hold on to her phone while this is going on. It must have been made up. Who would hold on to their phone? As you'll see, her phone has a lock on it. It has a grip around her finger. So while she was filming the incident, she couldn't drop her phone. She wasn't holding on to it for the fun of it. It was hooked to her hand, which is why it's everywhere filming and the video moves around. It's looped to her hand. The police also have possession of this. People have looked at the video of her dancing and screaming and things of that nature. What they didn't realize, if you slow it down, there are definite times where Miss Eiland is fully incoherent. Eyes rolled to the back of her head, and then she's assaulted. This wasn't some willing participant agreeing with what was going on. If you watch the video and you slow it down, you can see she has totally lost consciousness at large parts of this incident, which allowed this to happen. As you'll see here, which was a major violation by the club, the assailant was allowed to carry her away to a back room. You'll see this is him carrying her through the crowd, fully tucked as she's passed out, carrying her away. Now, per club policy, and per every standard in the industry, security intervenes if a person is too intoxicated or drugged or inebriated. They take possession of the person. You don't carry someone out of a club. But yet, this was allowed to happen because they did not have security there. That's the failures of this club. That's the failures of this club. And lastly, once again, to get this situation off of everyone focusing just on the dance floor scene, this, ladies and gentlemen, we've had it professionally subtitled, is the back room in opera on their patio, which you are not supposed to be in. This is not on the dance floor. This is in a dark room in the patio area, which we've already talked to former employees that you're not supposed to be out there. At the end, you'll hear someone come running out there saying, "Hey, stop." Unknown man finally comes and says, "Stop." This is not on the dance floor. This is where he carried her to afterwards. I saw his statement saying he carried her to her seat. That's a lie. He carried her to this darkened area where we also have reason to believe the security cameras weren't working. So thank God she was on Facebook Live. So it was 2 incidents, not just the dance floor situation. So that's the danger of the club. Everyone wants to say, oh, you're just looking to sue somebody. That is not accurate. I'm looking to prevent this from happening to another young lady or young man in this city again. Because if you don't have security at the club watching where people are drinking, where people are having fun, when does the next guy just pick up some young lady, carry her to a room, and sexually assault her? If security's not there doing their job. But I guarantee you after this lawsuit, security will be picked up, not only at Opera, but at all of these clubs. There's absolutely no way this should have happened. I have had employees call me bursting in tears, screaming that this should not have happened. But they knew security was inadequate. But yet, hey, it's hip hop night. Oh, it's R&B night. It doesn't matter. What matters in the city of Atlanta? And I understand it's a new group that just bought Opera, based out of Vegas. Doesn't matter. That's not how we operate in this city. You will have the same type of security you have at the other types of events. Or don't have the concert. Other than that, any general questions?
When did the new company take over?
3 months ago.
Oh, wow.
When you said 1/4 of the security was working, is that 1/4 that was required or 1/4 that normally works?
Both. We've talked to people in the industry that know exactly how many security guards should be working, especially for a concert where you should have increased security. August Alsina is a huge draw. Pre-sold tickets. And for you to have a handful of security guards when it takes at least 4 to work one door is pure insanity.
Who determines that, the number needed?
The amount of the crowd, the size of the club.
All right, right now you are
exits,
listening to
entrances,
attorney Chris
pat-downs,
Stewart of the Stewart Trial
on an
Attorneys
average
firm
night,
in
that's what
Midtown
they have,
Atlanta,
16
speaking
guards.
about the alleged sexual assault
I
that
can
occurred
tell
at
you
Opera
that
Atlanta in Midtown Atlanta. We also heard from the victim who said she wasn't going to address the details of this assault, but wanted to say that she is a fighter. She remains strong. She has been trolled on the internet. Her
Yeah, this is just industry.
attorney also spoke about what that has done to her personally, but she said it's not going to affect her. The attorney also said how he had reached out to Opera Atlanta about this alleged sexual assault and said that they've been met with silence. No phone calls, not an apology. He said that they were working with 1/4 of the amount of security that they normally would work with. And he said this was not a normal club night, that this was a large concert. Also explained how the victim was able to Facebook Live the alleged sexual assault by showing the back of her iPhone.